Hello and welcome. First time doing something like this. Usually I stream gameplay of whatever game I happen to be playing at the time. Lately it's been Tactics Ogre. Otherwise, and I do unboxings of special edition video games and board games. So today we're going to try something a little different. I'm going to do a top 10 list. Specifically, I'm doing the top 10 games that I finished for 2022. These are games, some of them were released in 2022, some of them were released earlier. But these were almost all games that I finished in 2022. There's one exception that's an honorable mention. And like everybody else, like a lot of other people, I'm going to cheat and actually give you 12 games, 2 of which are honorable mentions. Which I will start with here. The first honorable mention is the aforementioned Tactics Ogre Reborn, the very, very recent, as of January 5th, 2023, released like a month and a half ago or something like that. Tactics Ogre Reborn, which is a redo of the PSP version that was released in, I want to say, 2010? I can look it up, I'm not going to, because we're going to keep this moving. Otherwise I'll ramble. It was released 2008, 2009, 2010 around there. Which in turn was a redo of the Tactics Ogre that was released on the Super Famicom. It never had an English release on Super Nintendo. And then in a straight port to the PlayStation 1, which did happen. This is the first time of me actually getting to the game, even though I've owned it multiple times in the past. I had a copy of the PlayStation 1 port as well as the PSP remake. Just never got around to it, which is a common theme for me. Ever-growing backlog. But playing it now, have not finished it yet because I got sidetracked on recruitment missions for hidden characters. So, still playing that. When I'm done here, I'll probably go back to playing it some more tonight. But it's an honorable mention because I didn't quite finish it in 2022, even though I probably could have if I had ignored the other stuff. But also in line, it probably wouldn't have quite made the top 10 anyways, but it'd have been real close. My other honorable mention is going to be Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE Encore for the Nintendo Switch. That is the actual 11. I did want to mention it because, similar to Tactics Ogre, I owned the Wii U version of the game and never got around to it. And after a lot of badgering from a friend of mine, I finally got around to it. I enjoy the Persona games. I don't have a lot of experience with Fire Emblem though. I played the GameCube one, Path of Radiance, and didn't finish it. Which, I like tactical games, Fire Emblem never clicked for me. Part of it is I'm not a fan of permadeath. But, I like Shining Force, and obviously I like Tactics Ogre, and Final Fantasy Tactics is actually one of my top 3 games of all time, but that's another list for another time. yes, Tokyo Mirage Sessions. More Persona than Fire Emblem. Pretty sure, and I've probably gotten a lot more, or at least a little bit more out of the some of the side characters if I had played more Fire Emblem. But regardless of that, I did enjoy my time with that game. So yeah, Tokyo Mirage Sessions, FE Encore. Now for the actual top 10. At number 10, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Shredder's Revenge. I like brawlers, belt scrollers, beat 'em ups, whatever you want to call them. I like them. And Shredder's Revenge is just a real fun throwback to that style of game. It's really well done. Lots of extra secrets. Like the 6 characters that are in there. I think there might be more characters in DLC, but I'm not thinking of something else. Might be thinking of something else. Might be thinking of Streets of Rage 4. Which has some similarities in how it came about, but just looking for all the hidden stuff. Just had a good time with it. Real interesting that they got Mike Patton of Faith No More fame and other fame to sing the title song. And that game had a great soundtrack too. Shredder's Revenge has a great soundtrack. Yeah. Now, and Shredder's Revenge was released in 2022, so a game that was actually released in 2022. TMNT Shredder's Revenge. Next up, number 9, and that would be Tunic. I played the PS5 port, PS5 version of it. A wonderful throwback to old school Legend of Zelda. I have a short list of games that I routinely play, and Zelda 3: A Link to the Past is on that short list. So I adore that style of game, and Tunic harkens back to that style of game, but it's got a lot of other elements that are more modern. Went in real hard with the puzzle, some of the puzzle aspects, just environmental clues to figure out some of the puzzles, and it's parts of it are esoteric in the way games from the 80s were, but it's definitely even more intricate than how it was then. They went through the effort of creating their own script for the game, which can be learned and read. Furthermore, there's a hidden musical language in the game that reinforces that they didn't have to do, but they did it. Just shows a lot of love for that classic style of game, and I love them for it. And the game itself was pretty terrific. Next up, number 8, we have Kirby and the Forgotten Land. I've only played a couple Kirby games. I have nothing against them. Just I get to them when I get to them. But I was really interested to see Kirby's first 3D game. And it's also really good. It's hard to be upset when you're playing a Kirby game. Because Kirby is adorable. That little pink, adorable eldritch abomination that can suck up everything. Definitely cribs from a Super Mario design, like a lot of modern 3D titles do. Definitely shows as a Nintendo property. Getting through the basic game is pretty easy, but doing more with the extra content, I'm not going to say it's super hard, but it is more challenging than just playing the game straight. Like getting all of the secrets and finding all of the hidden stuff and opening all of the side levels up and doing the challenge platforming puzzles, and not just completing them but actually getting gold medals in all of them, as well as some of the secret bosses towards the end of the game to get the true ending. But it's just a real good time. Wonderful, happy game. That's more substantial than you think it is. Next up, number 7. Number 7 is Sonic Frontiers. Another one of my all-time favorites was Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. And Sonic Frontiers is kind of a bite-sized version of that. It's you get the Sonic level, but a lot of it is Breath of the Wild style exploration, where you're just running over the landscape, solving puzzles, and dealing with the enemies that are out and around. It's kind of chill for a Sonic game, actually. And I appreciated that it's 1/4 the length of Breath of the Wild. It took me about 25 hours to get through, which I appreciated because I played it in between Tactics Ogre and another game on this list, which was a good bit longer. I have not played many of the 3D Sonics. I have tended to, when I have played them, not enjoy them, or run into a situation where the frame rate is bad and thus gives me motion sickness. I actually ran into that with Sonic Frontiers, but I switched off. I pushed it over to performance mode rather than graphics mode, and that fixed the problem. I need steady 60 FPS, or my tummy doesn't like it. But the story was, very simplistic. It's a Sonic game. The music, something that's that I've heard about Sonic games, and I've played enough of them to know that it's true. Sonic games tend to have real good soundtracks, which I'm always a fan of. And the boss themes in particular go real hard. And they didn't have to go that hard, but they did. And I appreciate it for it. As I was saying, the story for it, simple, but serviceable, decent. I did take the time to do the little bit of extra needed for the true ending for Sonic Frontiers as well. I didn't quite platinum it. I will probably go back to doing that later. Anyway, Sonic Frontiers. I didn't quite platinum it. I will probably go back to that at some point because it's just a couple little things I have to do. I'm pretty close to it. Yeah, Sonic Frontiers. My number 6, Stray. Again, I played the PS5 version of it. Stray is an indie game that released earlier in the year. Noting that almost all of these released this year, except for Tokyo Mirage Sessions and my number 3 and my number 2. But anyways, Stray. Sorry. Stray is my number 6. An indie title that started life as a game taking place in the Kowloon Walled City, which was a city in Taiwan, or a section where in Taiwan that was, when it stood, was the most densely populated place on Earth. Just buildings built on buildings, built on buildings. It's fascinating to read about, and I recommend doing research on it. But Stray started life as a game taking place in the Walled City. It eventually shifted to being something a little different, but that closed-in, building upon building feeling was kept for atmosphere. And it's not a very long game. It's a couple hours. You play a cat. You have a meow button. You get to be a cat. That's real good. But it's a real thoughtful sci-fi story. And I don't want to say too much on it because it's probably the most indie game on my list. It did win. It was nominated and I think won some awards at the recent Game Awards for 2022. I think it took Best Indie Game. Just real. It ended up being as good as I was hoping it would be, if not better. Next we have number 5, and that is Horizon Forbidden West, the sequel to Horizon Zero Dawn. Horizon has always, both times has released against another game that just ate its lunch. Zero Dawn released against within a week of Breath of the Wild, and Forbidden West released real close to Elden Ring. I have not played Elden Ring yet. I do own it. I'll get to it eventually. Probably. But I don't love the combat in the Horizon games. but the story, world building, and just the exploration really puts it up there for me. And Forbidden West fixes a lot of problems that I had with Zero Dawn. I'm glad I held off on Zero Dawn for a year and a half or so after Breath of the Wild. I didn't play it till... when did I play it? 2019, I think? Maybe 2020? I held off 2 or 3 years before I played it. Forbidden West is a perfectly wonderful sequel, continuing the story of Aloy and her quest to try and fix the world after a Grey Goo apocalypse. Move that up. I like that they expanded the NPC cast. That you interact with a lot. I mean, there are plenty of NPCs in Zero Dawn, but a lot of them were kind of faceless. I mean, a couple are holdovers from that first game that continue on into the second game. But you also get a couple more, and I think just even the side characters are just more memorable in Forbidden West. Once again, soundtrack real good. And they announced not too long ago DLC Burning Shores expansion for Forbidden West, and I am super looking forward to that. Because, yeah, I'm happy to have more Horizon in my life. Number 4, Triangle Strategy. As I mentioned, I like tactical RPGs, strategy RPGs. This team has a tendency for real terrible names, but you kind of remember them because they're terrible. These are also the same people that Octopath Traveler and Bravely Default. Triangle Strategy, I believe that game has a lot of the same team that used to comprise, at least some of the team used to comprise Quest, which created Tactics Ogre and was later hired by Square, then Squaresoft, later Square Enix, to make Final Fantasy Tactics. So you get those guys, plus Sakimoto and Yuuta, the two game composers, who Sakimoto in particular now has his company Base Escape, which is definitely one of, at least for me, one of the preeminent game music composers for the last 25, 30 years. Although I don't think he was on Triangle Strategy. They used their Octopath composer for that. But just big sweeping political intrigue story between multiple factions, and you're just kind of caught in the middle of it, trying to maneuver through it. Multiple endings. It is a little tricky to get the best ending. I do have a playthrough of the not best ending that I am most amenable to, but also the best ending. Again, great soundtrack. I purchased the 4-disc one for this. Like Tactics Ogre, your characters are all class-based, although you can't change your class. But there's a skill system instead that you can work with. Just trying to think of something else. Oh yeah, Triangle Strategy was on the Switch. And I think there is a PC release now. Again, much like Octopath. Yeah, Triangle Strategy. Great. My favorite of the tactical RPGs I played this year. I also replayed a couple too that are not on this list. My number 3. At the very beginning of the year, I finally got. This is one of the few games on this list that did not release this year. Got around to it. Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Metroidvania that focuses more on the platforming than necessarily the combat. Although they did greatly improve the combat over the previous game. I mean, in Ori and the Blind Forest, the combat was just kind of there. It was all about the platforming. But Will of the Wisps definitely pushes harder into that. Beautiful, beautiful game. Very, very moving story. Some tears might have been shed. Might have been dust. I can neither confirm nor deny. And the music definitely made it more dusty. Yeah. Structurally, definitely leans towards being a Metroidvania, where you go and you unlock more abilities, which in turn unlocks more areas on the map. Not. It's hard to say a lot with some of these because you don't. For people who have not played these games, I don't want to spoil anything. It's just it was a real moving game, and similar to Forbidden West, more NPCs you interact with, that you get to talk to. There's a little town hub. There's a little hub area that you get to build up, which in turn unlocks more abilities for you. Yeah, Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Number 2. This is kind of a double because I played them back to back and they're closely related. And that is another set of games that didn't release this year. Finally got to them this year. Spider-Man Remastered, along with Miles Morales. Again, the remastered for PS5 Spider-Man game from 2018. Just it's a open world GTA / Batman / other games of this ilk. Just you've got your section of New York. It's real. It's big. You're web slinging across it. Web slinging is very satisfying. Just just the act of doing it is fun. Combat's pretty fun. I'm apparently a bad Spider-Man. Because I got beat up a lot until I got used to the game. I don't love the base rush sections where you're sneaking the bases and you're fighting like waves of enemies. Those can turn into a slog. Miles Morales doesn't actually have any of those. That's also a good bit shorter than Spider-Man Remastered was. It's about half the length. Both games, and that's including the all of the Spider-Man DLC that I also did, involving Hammerhead and Black Cat and Silver Sable. All of that City Never Sleeps. All of that together just made for a fun story. Shed a little tear and see Stanley. Miles Morales also told a really good story as well. He, through circumstances, had to end up saving the city without OG Spider-Man. And yep, I really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to more Spider-Man, which should be coming in the next year or two. So those games together, Spider-Man Remastered, the DLC, and Miles Morales, comprise my number 2. And finally, my number 1 for 2022, God of War Ragnarok. Man, what can I say? Before the God of War 2018 came out, I sat down and I hadn't played them previously. I had started the original God of War when the God of War 1 and 2 collection came out on the PS3. So I had started it but never finished it. So I went back and picked up that save game. I did a little review of some of the story elements. But the story in that first God of War game is pretty simple. But I played through God of Wars 1, 2, and 3, and I went over synopses for Ascension and the 2 PSP games. So when God of War 2018 came out, I was ready for it. And just the journey that game turned into was incredible. And I've been waiting for the sequel, which did not disappoint. Once again, Ragnarok was surprisingly emotional. Just because, part of it is my dad passed away in 2015, and parts of that story reminded me of my relationship with my father. And also, once again, incredible soundtrack. Great gameplay that was expanded upon even over the previous God of War. Again, don't want to say too much because it's still a relatively recent game, and there are definitely some surprises that I don't want to advertise. But my only complaint is they took away my quick turn, because that button is getting used for something else. I didn't platinum this one either, but I did definitely go through the process to get the final ending. I did most of the extra content. So yes, there is an ending, and then there is a true ending, which is not, in and of itself, is not terribly difficult to get. So don't worry about that. Man, just it was a real good year for games. And I'm looking forward to 2023. So we're going to see, we're probably going to, now that Xbox Series consoles and PS5s are readily available now, finally, after almost 2 years, I think we'll start seeing a stronger push to push those systems. And because I've already played a lot of pretty terrific PS5 stuff. But anyways, that is me rambling about my top 10 games that I completed in 2022, most of which were released in 2022. So I'll probably do a couple more of these, and people seem to like them, or I enjoy continuing to do them, I will continue to do them. At any rate, I'm probably going to head off and play some more Tactics Ogre in a little bit here. And with that, thanks for watching, and I will catch you all next time.